with Washington and USC. And how about the way this line has 77 and a half? People certainly expecting a big game here from two of the top quarterback Heisman contenders here with Penix and Williams. Everybody says Williams kind of mailed in the season here a little bit so far, but that's not the case. I mean, we know he still can play for a big time, uh, award here in a game that is supposed to see a lot of points. And while I know that there are, probably a big chance that both teams are going to score in the 30s here, I would guess. I mean, I still got to think it's a little bit of an insult with a total that high. Maybe it will be an 80-point game, but I've got to think it's more, mid 30s here. Let's be realistic. Maybe both, no reason why it won't be a very high scoring game, but I'm just got to think it might be a touchdown too high here. I know everybody wants to roll in this one with a big time over, and I'm not even sure on the side, to be honest, which way I might be leaning, or maybe I'm reserving it for later. But I'm just going to go under. I can't stand it at 77 and a half. It is going to be, we're not going to, surprise anybody here with, some, 17-10 game. I mean, that's impossible in this matchup. I'm just banking on that this thing has been set. And there are sharp guys, but I did see Tony on the record here on the under as well. So I've got that going for me. I've seen some cappers out there, some pretty popular guys that are on the over in this one. So let's not dive into it too. I think we know what we're expecting here. I just feel like the line has been set to, not everybody feels the same way I do, right? I think some people would just say, well, I don't care what the total is, I'm going over, but not me. And Terrell, hello, thank you. And yeah, the home dog situation here. This is the Pac 12. And look what's happened again. Oh, so I never really even talked about this week too much about and I don't know if this is even the point, but because I'm trying to get through this card. But so we already talked about how the Pac 12 is a cannibalistic conference, right? And the reason why the Pac 12 has such difficulty getting to the championship, not only the East Coast bias. Oh my gosh, a Vexen organization. Nice to have you here. What a pleasure. Thank you. And so they always kind of knock each other off because it's a pretty good conference, actually. And maybe that's one thing that's been against that and the East Coast bias, why the Pac 12 teams maybe can't get into the championship game all the time. Maybe when they've had maybe deserved a little bit better. And now all of a sudden we have their best year for the Pac 12. And what happened in the first reading of the BCS top four? No Pac-12 teams were there. Yeah, they were 5 and 6, but and things will change because of the demise of the conference. We know all that going on, but here you have another situation where maybe it could be another. Here's a home dog. Yeah, Washington's favored. Maybe they're recognized as a better team right now, but can't tell me that these teams in the Pac-12 just aren't kind of starting to knock each other off, and it's kind of playing with this situation a little bit here as they try to qualify for the play, for the BCS. So we'll see what happens in that one. And there's, I see great handicappers on both sides, but let's take the under here and keep it going. The Kentucky Wildcats are going to be on the road here against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. And interesting to take a look at what's been going on here with the line movement in this game, because what you have seen, certainly when we were on that show on Sunday, was Kentucky open maybe as low as 2.5 or maybe 3 here, but they've gone up to as high. I saw as high as 5.5. And to me, Mississippi State seems to be getting all the action from my buddies, the Sharps. If you know who they are, tell them I'm looking for them, because they seem to be betting on Mississippi State pretty hardcore here from what I'm seeing. I'm seeing maybe even a 5-to-1 ratio of sharp action here for Mississippi State. You just have to trust me and believe me on that. Just taking a look at, the money ratio and the ticket ratio, like I like to do, and people make fun of, but you can't help but see that the line has continued to move in the direction of Kentucky, but it looks like I'm seeing enough money movement here on Mississippi State. I want to trust Mississippi State at home. I think cappers are mostly going to be on Kentucky here, and I'm going to take Mississippi State as a home underdog. Um, Seen the total move to the over here, open 43 and a half up to 46, and that feels like the right move. I don't know if there's much value to it now at all, but I'm going to take Mississippi State at home here. Brent Cook just said, no doubt. I just said right there. I just said right there. Um, Will Rogers is out of this game. So, no doubt about it. It is a major factor, and that's why you've seen this line move here. But I'm not impressed. And like I said, the move has been on Mississippi State. And that with Will Rogers, news to me has been, kind of apparent all week. They do have some other injuries as well. I mean, Mississippi State has some things going against them here for sure in this one. But Vexen says, yeah. Yep. Oh no, he's out, Ferner. I just said right here, breaking news, top of the hour. Will Rogers out for Mississippi State, no doubt about it. And what has happened today? We've seen, the sharps continue to bang this line down here ever so slightly. Continuing to take these points. I mean, it's up to 5.5 at Bovada again, but still 4.5 at Circa. This is with this news out there that I felt like Rogers was extremely questionable already coming into this game. So I'm just on Mississippi State here plus these points in this one. And Brent has that. And again, Brent says, hey, this is my computer. It's not necessarily my picks. So he likes to, and we're doing a great job there. Brent, a man, incredible contributions in the Discord as well. I know it's time consuming. All right, Purdue and Michigan here. What is going to happen in this whole situation? The other thing I wanted to say about the BCS, and maybe I can continue it here, is their selection of Ohio State. These goofballs running the BCS. I'm talking to you. Uh, they look to me like they do this. It seems like the last two. I'm trying to remember if it's been both years, last 2 or 3 years, but they seem to rotate there for whatever. And you're sure a team might lose and they're done. We've had this format now for several years, and they get on TV and say, but it looks to me like they pick one of their teams that maybe really isn't number one. Okay, maybe Ohio State. You can't argue that they could be number one. There's between the teams that are up there, right? We're kind of debating a little bit. So, but you're like, maybe that Ohio State is number one, and we're questioning their, they don't have the same type of explosive offense that they've had maybe. But it looks to me like the BCS they kind of rotate through, try to get everybody hyped a little bit. I think it's a little bit of BS to tell you the truth. And I've only just felt that way when I saw that. I never thought that way necessarily before when I saw this. I'm not anti-Ohio State. Maybe they are number one. And I'm sure there's maybe 25% of the people. Maybe I don't know what that committee went through. Anyways, Michigan, they're in there too, and they're big favorites here against Purdue. The total's gone way high here, right? It opened 45 and a half when we were on the Circus show, and now it's all the way up here to 52 and a half. It was as high as 54. To me, man, that just looks kind of crazy that it would be so high here in a game that I wouldn't expect Purdue to be able to do much against Michigan. I would think this game probably ends up very close to 42-7, 35-7, 38-7, 42-7, 38-14. That would still make it under, right, by a half a point. That's still getting close, but that's if Purdue does score 2 touchdowns, and I don't know if they will. I've got the under here at 52 and a half in this one for sure. I don't think this. And look, the Sharps have been the ones. I mean, they've been pressing this over quite a bit this week, and usually this is a spot I kind of want to roll with them in, but not moving this high here. Just feels like what are they really expecting Michigan to win this one? What 42 to 10, 42 to 10, 42 to 10, 45 to 10, 45 to 14, 42 to 10 would be 52 points and be 32, 42 to 10. So I guess it could, but man, you know, you would expect the clock to be moving here a little bit, and um, boy, just seems I'll be, Michigan. One thing I started saying when I first joined Tony's network, this is our second season here last year, was people were like, "Oh, Harbaugh, he takes his foot. He doesn't take his foot off the gas necessarily." But here, even that this one, 4 touchdowns seem more reasonable, actually. So I'll end up on the under here. And Peasy says he's got a better number for you. And Ferner says they're not number one. That's it, right? So that's what I'm saying, Ferner. And again, I mean, you could actually, even in my mind, where I'm like, they're probably not number one, but I could see where someone could pick them because you can't really, I don't know, there's a big difference, but I think the BCS rotates the number ones and watch even next weekend. We did see it last year, if I'm not mistaken, or at least 2 of the last 3 years where teams were still winning and they were still balancing a different team as number one. And I think they do it just to get the hype in those markets, because they don't know at this point that those 4 are going to be final, but because look, Alabama, they still want to think that they have an outside chance in this one. And this one, boy, talk about a lot of movement here, right? We've seen the total kind of going up here with LSU and Alabama, and mostly because of my guy, Jaden Daniels. And that's where LSU looks to make a splash here in this game because of uh, look, he's the outsider for the Heisman Trophy right now. And look, there's nobody else that I want to win this trophy more than Jaden Daniels. Do I think he'll do it? No. This is going to be a tough game today for LSU. The totals opened as low as 57.5. Now I've seen as high as 62.5, and still a lot of pressure to the over, but I don't know if it's going to get there. I don't know if Daniels can go off like he needs to. The total would indicate, and the move on the line would indicate that LSU. Look, I saw Alabama as high as a 7-point favorite in this game early on, and now we're all the way down here near, what, a field goal or even less in a few spots. Well, I don't know if I see a 2.5 right now, but there were some, weren't there? I've seen a 2.5 juiced. So I don't think it's going to go that way for Daniels. If anybody watches Ramon on the morning's team, he likes Jaden Daniels. Probably, I think he's my favorite quarterback out there this season. Have I said, So look, I'm big on Jaden Dan. I hope he does. To me, he's been overhyped for what he's actually done. To reach this point has been great. So I don't know how. I'm not saying he's over. I'm overhyping him to a certain extent. He's always received a little bit more hype than probably his ability has shown through. Yet he still had a great career at ASU and LSU here. So, anyways, enough about my guy here. But I'll take the under in this one. Alabama is going to be able to slow Daniels enough here. It's going to cost him the Heisman, I would think. He will not have a super productive game that would put him over the top. Maybe he'll have a good game. Hopefully he will. Hopefully this is a great game because certainly LSU and Alabama, we deserve good contests tonight. Give me the under in this one. We're not going to stop too much here, but I do want to get your plays in there. PZ, we did the earlier games, the early games all week. We did them on Tuesday and Wednesday. We had earlier games. So we're doing the night games here. And thank you guys for your picks. All right, the Miami Hurricanes and North Carolina Tar Heels in this one. And with Miami on the road now up to 6.5 point favorite here, even in this one, as the line continues to move in Miami's favor all week long. I saw this one open here as low as 3.5, and now I've seen as high as 6.5 here in this one, and the total keeps going down. So, what gives? Is it that North Carolina State is not going to? I'm sorry if I said North Carolina earlier. Of course, I meant State. But is North Carolina State the team that's going to be held down here by a strong Miami uh, defense? That doesn't feel right necessarily, does it? If Miami's number keeps going up, I would think that it's because Miami is going to have a better, more productive day offensively against North Carolina State. How do you guys feel about it? Because for me, look, the total opened 48.5 when we were on that show, but that was the opener at Circa. Maybe they were a little bit wrong. It was bed down pretty hard immediately. I think immediately. Anyways, I'm showing 44 right now for the most part. Let me peek at it here. And um, so for me, that I don't agree. But what I will do, I think, with this game is end up on the over here. I think Miami, if it's a situation where Miami, they're the runaway favorite here, if anything, it has created some value on North Carolina State, especially if you get that hook or a little bit more. But Miami, they're the runaway favorite here for the most part. Three, 2.5, three, even 3.5 points higher than that opener, and the total has been moving lower. So I think Miami, if they're going to win this game by an increased margin, it will be because of more offense, not them limiting North Carolina State defensively. That's the way I feel, and I'm going to be taking the over 44 with this one. All right, Stanford is going to be at Washington State. Pac-12 action here with Washington State, big 2 touchdown favorite, pretty much in this one, and game number 373, 374 here with Washington and Washington State and Stanford. Washington State at home, looking to really capitalize on this great season. They have an opportunity here to do so. It looks like to me this total went from 57.5 all the way up to as high as 61. Is it? And look, I have it showing 59 right there. Um, yeah, I guess it is 59 actually. It's gone back down here to 59. I would expect um I don't know, I kind of like that opener better at 57.5. I'd kind of maybe look, but I'm going to look to lay the points here with Washington State. I have them winning this one, maybe even by as many as 17. I couldn't get them there maybe on a premium here in this one, but I would think in a game that's expected to have somewhere close in the high 50s here that Washington State can be provided, especially if we can keep it under 2 touchdowns here. This one opened as high as 14. And right now I'm showing mostly 13, 13.5 or so. So we're keeping it under 14, but I'll take Washington State. Yep. Thank you, Ferner. All right, Oregon State and Colorado in this one. This still should be fun. I know that things have gotten a little dicey, and maybe Dion has gone a little bit too far in some of his comments. I mean, which Dion, sometimes forgets that all these kids have parents. Is what it felt like as he openly criticized the his offensive, basically saying that we don't have enough good recruits on our offensive line, and my son's getting sacked way too many times. Maybe he shouldn't hold the ball. Maybe he shouldn't go scrambling around when he's getting tackled by one ankle and all that. I'm sure he knows what he's doing, and I'm sure that really what it is, yeah, is probably they are overmatched on the offensive line, a very tough position to get the elite players uh, to. But in a situation like this against Oregon State, I don't think it will be as big of a problem as it has been in some. Look, I know we want to look at Oregon State as kind of still. I don't look at those other Pac-12 matchups that Colorado's kind of struggled in here against maybe more traditional strength teams of the Pac-12. I know we're dealing with a special Oregon State team here and all that, but I don't think that kind of like that. The tradition's not there. That doesn't carry on the field necessarily in this one, but I just take the points. I want the points at home with Colorado. It feels to me like more of a shootout game. This total already ridiculously high here, probably too high at this point. It opened as low as 60.5 when we were on that circa preview or the opening lines show here on the Tony's Picks channel. It immediately went up to 63.5, and now we're looking at 68. Is that, do I have it right, or is it, am I misreading it here? Okay, thank you. Gosh, you guys got to check my math. Okay, I just couldn't read it. It's 60.5. All right, well that changes things for me for sure. I'm sorry about that, you guys. That was just a misread. I thought maybe I typed it because I kind of typed in blindly, and then as I got up this morning a couple hours ago, and it said 60.5. Thank you. Well then, I'd probably prefer the over here in this one, but I'm already stuck with it. I'm stuck with Colorado here in this one, and I don't think 68 is necessarily wrong, but I certainly think that this one probably gets into the mid 60s here when Oregon State's going to be able to put up some pretty big numbers I would imagine here. But I think Colorado, this is more of the style of game that you'll see where they keep coming back a little bit. It'll probably be more wild and fun than some of the stuff we've seen sometimes when let's see, good fade spot for Colorado. Yeah, but I'm kind of wheeling it back the other way now, Brent. If anything, I'm kind of saying like um, because again, I don't want to lay two touchdowns necessarily here with Oklahoma State in the. But my numbers actually in my computer says to do so, and I just can't. I can't. I just feel like it's going to be you know somewhere. Look, if it's going to be somewhere in the mid 60s, like I would rather call it for here in this one. Uh, you know 38 to 31 doesn't seem out of the question here, I would think, in this game. I don't know about Oregon State really putting the hammer down to get double digits on the road here at this point against this Colorado team that certainly has some ability. I put them in there in the middle. And well, Oregon State, I mean, this has been incredible. Remember, they haven't had it. I mean, this is like when was that great Oregon State team that the giant killers of Oregon State? That was before I was born. I think I'm old. All right, Boise State and Fresno State action from the Mountain West here on Saturday night. I got to talk a little bit of Mountain West with Fresno having such a great year coming in at 7-1 here, but hey, they're only favored by 2.5. This is the last game on the board, but not the last game of the night. But it is game number 425 and 426 here. Look at this total at 54 now. This one's been going down just steadily, and that's a move that I probably can get behind. It's been a short move to the under, and it hasn't moved too far yet, and I do like it. So give me the under here in this one. It has opened as high. I saw as high as Fresno State -4. But now they're all the way down to -2.5 here. I think it mostly opened around 3.5. So this one's kind of been all over the place. And man, I think it just feels like this would be a close game that I'm not even sure I could. I would say for me, the value might still be with Boise, but boy, it would be nice to get four. I'd be buying points with Boise. I just feel like it's a field goal game one way or the other. And I feel like that total's probably too high. Too high. I'm going to be going under here in this one when, like I said, I think it should be a field goal game, a close game. So, really, can I really get 7 touchdowns out of this game? I don't know if we can here. I'm gonna take the under in this one with Boise State and Fresno State. So UCLA on the road here against U of A, and the Bruins are favored in this one on the road by 2.5. I've seen the Bruins, man. This one's been all over the place as well. I saw as low Bruins, maybe as low as 1.5 here, I think, and as high as I don't know 4, as high as 4. So, if anything, maybe there's some value here with UCLA. That's the way I was kind of looking the whole time. And now I can lay under a field goal. Probably would take him on the money line, but I don't want to do that to you on the show. So, let's see here. Sharps, maybe. They're kind of mixed. This total opened when we were on the preview show as high as 61.5. And look where it is now, all the way down. That was obviously a bad line because it got hit down immediately to 53. Looks like I'm sure they just started taking a bet or two and adjusted. But Circa did show a 61.5 when that game opened. There's no doubt about that. And I don't know. I mean, uh, while the reported steam did come in on the under, and it was immediately bet down. 53 was probably the general opener, maybe 53.5 for uh, Joe Schmoes like you and I. But even that has been hit down here a little bit. Uh, to the under, and I don't know if I, necessarily mind that. Quite frankly, I would think that maybe this one will be still an under, but it is interesting that Circa had such a high opinion of the total in that game. Anyways, I'll take the Bruins on the road here. I know Tony took them as well on his preview, so I like UCLA. I probably just lay the money line. I feel pretty scared actually. Brent's on Arizona here.